Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented to you by Betway. I'm your host, Adam Peddle, and we are continuing with our team profiles and projections, and we've got the seventh worst team in baseball. The reason why I'm laughing is because it's my team, the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, they were the seventh worst team in baseball last year, and I kind of hate that I'm doing this without Nick. I know Nick and I. Well, maybe actually it is better than I'm doing without Nick, because we'd probably go on for like 40 minutes on why this team is bad. If you really do want a full breakdown of this team in great detail on why they're bad, go check out Blue Jays Today. I'm sure some of you are here from Blue Jays Today, so you'll get my kind of summed up version of the Toronto Blue Jays and what I think they're going to do this season, and do I think they're going to hit their over-under. All right, let's get into it. So first things first, we got to start with who they got this offseason. And yeah, I mean, guys, again, they got a lot. If you were on Blue Jays Today, you would have known that. They got a lot of dudes this offseason. So looking up and down the lineup right here in the bolded greens, you've got Anthony Santander. That was the big bat. That was the switch hitter, the guy who could bat from the left side that they desperately needed for so many years. That's a massive addition, and he could be there for 6 years. Like, that's an incredible deal, and I think they're getting deferred money, so they're paying him like $14 million per year. Andres Jimenez, the sneaky trade that nobody saw coming from Cleveland. He's a Gold Glove defender. He can rack up 4 WAR in his worst years. Great addition there. Miles Straw, that was part of the whole, like, we're trying to get Roki Sasaki. It didn't work, but we'll see if he joins the team. Max Scherzer, what a great guy that guy is. He's going to the Hall of Fame. 1-year deal. Let's see what he could do in that rotation of veterans. And in the bullpen, they had 3 arms. Jeff Hoffman, legit closer guy. He really broke out last year. And then you got Jimmy Garcia coming back from after getting traded away from the Toronto Blue Jays. And then they go and they add Nick Sandlin in that and then Andres Jimenez trade. Those are the guys that came in. They also kind of picked up Ryan Yarbrough. That's a guy that they got back. That hit the free agency. They got him on a minor league deal. Probably will make the pen just based on the necessities they needed of lefties. Guys that they lost Jordan Romano. They lost Yenesis Cabrera. Middle to bottom tier bullpen kind of guy right there. But Jordan Romano for years was the closer in Toronto. What are they going to do? Their replacement is Jeff Hoffman. They're kind of swapping places, Jordan Romano and Jeff Hoffman with Philly and Toronto Blue Jays. And then they traded away Spencer Horwitz, of course, in that Andres Jimenez trade. So those are the parts in, those are the parts out. And I really do think that you can easily say that the parts in are absolutely major. I mean, the whole questions around this Toronto Blue Jays is, when are they actually going to go and they're actually going to win? Because they've been in that tier of like, oh, we're super competitive. Oh, we're making a wild card every year, basically. Last year was the first year they didn't make wild cards since 2021, and even in 2021, they had the MVP 2 and MVP 3 and the Cy Young Award winner in Robbie Ray. So, this is kind of the final year because you've also got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette up on contract extensions, and that's the core of your team. And then after those guys, it's like, who else? They don't really have any big major top 100 prospects right now that can come up next year and immediately replace that kind of production from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette. So I understand why they went all in this offseason. This is it. You got a big ownership and you got to go all in. So they went, they did that, they addressed that need, and that's a need of going and adding guys. But is that good enough for these Toronto Blue Jays to really get over the hump? Let's go and break down that lineup, everybody. You look at the lineup, flashing back over here. George Springer. What in the heck are you going to get from George Springer this year? He's been on a rapid decline the last couple seasons, like nowhere near where he was supposed to be. These are the projected numbers if you guys are watching on video. Now we have the 2024 stats. Look, 608 plate appearances, and he's still giving you a 674 OPS. The health isn't the issue. It's the fact that the decline has happened, and the Blue Jays need him back in a major way. Obviously, Vladdy, he's phenomenal. They need to, if Vladdy doesn't bang like he did last year, the Blue Jays are nothing. We're not even talking about them being competitive at all, or any of these guys bouncing back. Anthony Santander is going to give you 30 to 40 homers in a year. That's phenomenal, batting third according to Fangraphs. Bo Bichette, I know Bo Bichette's going to bounce back, and that's not even me being a biased Blue Jays fan. This guy's been doing it for year after year after year. Like, look at the baseball reference. 2021, 2022, 2023. Look at that. In 21 and 22, he led the American League in hits both years. And then in every single season, this guy's batting no less than 290. And then in 2023, when he didn't win in hits, he had a 306 batting average. All the OPS is in the low 800s. And last year he had two injury stints on the IL, and then he ends up with this kind of year. And granted, I think he got off to a slow start, and then it kind of snowballed into the injuries. He's due for a bounce back, especially in a contract year. There's no way I see Bo Bichette not bouncing back. And then you continue down the lineup. They have a question mark in that DH spot. Right now it's Will Wagner. Could it be Orelvis Martinez or some of the other young guys? We'll see. Then you got Alejandro Kirk, Andres Jimenez, Ernie Clement, and Nathan Lucas. So after 4, it's all question marks, right? And Alejandro Kirk's got to be able to step up again. Andres Jimenez, what can they get from them? But honestly, like, looking at who are the rock solid guys in this lineup, you could say it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Anthony Santander. You probably are going to bank on Bo Bichette, but that's like 2.5 guys right there. This lineup needs two more. You need 5, maybe even 6 guys to be seriously competitive, and especially in a really tough American League East where there's really good pitching. They need to bounce back. Their offense last year was decent, but they weren't their banging offense like they were in the past, and the home run numbers were completely gone. Now, moving over to their rotation. I mean, the rotation is a veteran staff, seriously. Like, veterans on veterans on veterans. Kevin Gausman, Jose Barrios, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer kind of leading the charge with the old age veteran. And then Bowden Francis, the youngest guy at 28, who's a late bloomer right now for the Blue Jays, had one of the best second halves in MLB history last year. Like, everybody in this rotation is solid. They can give you a chance to win any given day if they do exactly what they were supposed to do last year. And that's kind of what you're asking for. However, when you look at the lineup, now you're asking them they have to bang. Because you see it too many times with the Toronto Blue Jays. They get a good outing from their starter, but they don't score any runs. So they score 1 run, and it's not good enough. And then they hand it over to that bullpen, which we're about to get into. And it was worse. It was awful for them last year. They were ranked 29th in ERA, and in ERA plus, they were the worst. But they did add to that bullpen. Jeff Hoffman, they got Jimmy Garcia, Chad Green. They're going to be doing some setup stuff for the Blue Jays. Eric Swanson had a better second half last year, but he needs to bounce back. Eric Sandlin is a middle relief guy. Brandon Little's the one lefty. Tommy Nance, Yariel Rodriguez to give some length on the bullpen. I mean, the bullpen definitely looks better and should perform better than it did last year, the 29th ranked bullpen in baseball. If the Blue Jays can get a bounce back from their bullpen, be middle of the pack, be decent, be good, this rotation has a chance to maybe hold on to some of those leads that they have in the early games when they pitch stellar. But the offense needs to be able to produce like 2 more guys. Someone needs to break out, and they need to get hot early. Granted, also, one little note, Dylan Varsho is to start the year injured, so we'll see what they do with him come opening day. But honestly, guys, my overall summary of the Jays, I can go on about them forever. They need a lot to go right. A lot needs to click. Like, if they get the 2 bats bouncing back, if they get, that consistent rotation, if they get the bullpen performing at a middle to upper, above average level, where does that put this team? I put this team at 87 wins. And now you're competing for a wild card spot, right? But it's kind of sad because they spent so much money, they did so much, and it's like, only 87 wins after what a big splash of an offseason they had. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for this team. They got to work a lot. They got to work, and they need some guys to break out. And you gotta kind of hope that the whole Vladimir Guerrero Jr. walk year thing isn't a big distraction. Because if he's a big distraction, because right now we're already hearing that he's open to the Yankees, open to all these other teams, blah 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 blah. Even though he said he doesn't want it to be a big distraction this year, it kind of is. If it's a big distraction for him especially, then the team doesn't bang. Without Vladdy, the team is nothing. So we got to hope that he bounces back for the Toronto Blue Jays' sake. Let's get into the over-unders right now, everybody. Presented to you by Betway. Hit your picks and knock it out of the park with Betway. Scan the QR code on the screen right here or click the link in the details section to join the action. Must be 19 years or older to participate. Available in Ontario only. Please play responsibly. I always thought this was crazy. I brought this up on the Blue Jays Today show so many times. The over-under is 78.5. Granted, they're heavily favoriting the over because they made this line before they got Santander and Max Scherzer. So the line has been kind of getting better ever since. But 78.5, it's heavily favoriting the over. And personally, guys, this is an easy smash over for me. You know, I watched Talking Baseball talk about this, and, Jake was bringing up, they're in the AL East, I think if you look at the entire American League, I think the Toronto Blue Jays on paper are a middle to upper pack team. Not upper like I'm talking the upper guys like Baltimore and the premier teams like New York and maybe even Boston you could talk about now. But are they better than the Kansas City Royals? Possibly. Are they better than the Detroit Tigers? Possibly. On paper. Possibly. Right? They do need some things to go right, but it feels like they're poised to do it. So with that being said, yeah, I'm taking the over on 78.5. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, what would you take, the over or the under for the Toronto Blue Jays? Hit that like, subscribe to Bad for Baseball on our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you next time.